Here you can see there's a picture of Archer in my.
Welcome back to the Agony booth. We are excited to welcome you back to the Captain's Quadrant, where we talk about some of the more forgettable episodes of Star Trek. This week, 2 days, 2 nights from Star Trek Enterprise. And oh boy, do we have a lot of fun, right? Right. All right, let me go around the room and introduce everybody.
No.
As you may know me, I am your host, your hostess with the mostest, Captain Joe Dove, or as I like to call myself lately, Captain Dove. Next to me is hairless alien space dog. That is our good friend Jace. And then
I'm sorry, I have to do it right. It has to be.
Yeah. And then we got our Klingon queen. And joining us for the first time in the Captain's Quadrant, we are very excited to have Rachel.
Hi.
Rachel.
I didn't realize we were doing so funny names.
Yeah.
I'm Rachel, or Dramaturg 884 on the internet.
That's perfect.
She's like Madonna. She has one name.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
ironically, on my social media, I have 3.
Yeah. I was like, do I say all 3? Is it just the one?
You can. I have all 3 because there's a much more famous person with my first and last name.
Gotcha. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're so excited to have you.
Rachel Amber Bloom is my what I put up.
Right.
Because I am not the creator of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh, gotcha. Well, welcome to the show. Cosmic Mom says hello. She's ready.
Hi, Cosmic Mom.
Hi.
Hello.
All right. And let us go into what the F did we just watch? We're talking about Star Trek Enterprise, 2 days, 2 nights, when the crew goes off to Risa on a forced shore leave. Captain Archer finds a mysterious young lady, and all types of craziness ensues. All right, Rachel, since you're our guest, please to kick us off. What did we just watch?
I feel like what I mostly just watched something with an interesting concept that just did not work.
Yeah.
It was like the weirdest part to me is how much action happens off screen that is described to you.
Yes.
I was like, why didn't we see them escape? Why didn't we see the accident happen? Why didn't we see that woman trip over a turtle?
Like, why did all this stuff happen and then we didn't get to actually see this stuff happen?
I was like, do you think this is a radio play?
This episode is to be as uninteresting as possible.
Yeah.
All right, Klingon Queen.
I think that she's right. Rachel's right. If they would have shown those little things of her tripping over the turtle, definitely wanted to see the rock formation changing and him falling. I actually, when he said, "Oh, the rock shifts," that was something I was looking forward to seeing, and we didn't get to see that.
Mayweather, right? Yeah.
Yes,
that would have
Mayweather.
meant giving Mayweather a scene.
He needed a
about
scene.
Mayweather.
Yeah.
They showed a lot about the conversation that Archer was having with this woman, and I couldn't zone without his scene. Honestly, give me Phlox and give me even Trip and Malcolm. Hoshi's scene, get it on. He was fine.
Yeah,
I don't blame him.
I think Hoshi was the only one that kind of worked for me.
Yeah, that made sense.
The only story arc where I was like, I think we saw enough that I was emotionally invested.
Yeah.
There were certain scenes that this was Star Trek that was not on a streaming platform, so we were not going to see.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
Right.
I liked Hoshi's scenes and how she was, talking to the people who lived there.
Yeah.
And that was really nice because that kind of showcased who she is as a linguist, right?
Mhm.
And I thought that that was excellent, and seeing that here's Phlox, an alien race that hibernates. We only really think of bears, right?
Right.
Yeah.
When it comes to hibernation, but he does. This is part of his species, and it was very interesting to see him trying to muddle through this. But it would have been really nice to see, not in a cringy kind of way, but the accident, him climbing, interacting with others. Were there other people there, or even the interaction in the hospital?
Yeah.
What made him so uncomfortable that he needed his own doctor?
Mhm.
All right, hairless alien space dog.
I'm going to
Bring
go
it
into my
home.
diatribe now. I'm
Okay.
just letting you all know.
I can't win.
There isn't much I can say about a bunch of dull morons going on vacation, but I will do my best. 2 days and 2 nights is a series of bland and uninspired vignettes that would be hard pressed to adequately fill 10 minutes of screen time, stretched out over 45 excruciating minutes. This episode doesn't even have the courtesy of being bad. It's just 45 minutes of coma-inducing ennui in which the only people who seem more blasé than the audience are the actors in the damn thing. I will now continue. First of all, everyone, and I mean everyone in this episode, must have left their brain on the ship when they went down to Risa. Trip and Tucker are portrayed as horned-up meatheads who are thinking so hard with their secondary brains that they actually follow 2 women into a dark, janky basement after being told that there are some beautiful underground gardens down here.
Who does that?
I was like,
Okay,
I
Tucker
actually
can be
thought-
excused. Yeah, Tucker can be
I-
excused because he is Florida man. Reed is the head of security on the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Worf and Tuvok would have never.
had a
Absolutely.
thought, like, I was like, this is like the kind of thing that's ingrained in women, like, do not do. I was like, men know not to do this too, right? Like,
Yes,
they can't
we
not.
do. We
No,
do
they
know
are pretty.
That's how
I
you
want to
lose that
see
kidney.
women. Like,
Oh.
And the way they were talking about the other females in it would have been great to see these. Like, oh
Yeah.
well, I don't know
Yeah.
you're not a
which
man.
eye
It
do
was
I
all-
look at?
Like,
Which
it was
eye?
also weirdly regressive the way they were talking about, like, both women
Yes.
and aliens.
Yes,
Yeah.
very objectifying.
Which-
Like, which
Objectifying.
eye do I look at? Or wrong pronoun.
Yeah, the pronoun thing was really. I was like,
It did not
cringy.
age well at
Aged-
all.
the Trip and Malcolm's part aged so poorly. I was
Yeah.
so cringy.
I will now continue.
Oh, you have more. Okay.
I have
Good,
way
good.
more.
It's the Jason.
Our second
episode.
story finds Phlox being awakened from his yearly hibernation to tend to Mayweather, who's suffering from an allergic reaction to a treatment from an alien doctor. This is because Phlox is the only doctor on the Enterprise, and his substitute is too stupid to deal with a malady that your average elementary school nurse can handle with an EpiPen. This is supposed to be a fun, lighthearted C-plot where Phlox is all out of sorts due to being awakened, but it only succeeds in embarrassing John Billingsley, who's the only actor who seems to be trying in this episode, and making the Enterprise crew look woefully incompetent. And now Archer.
Oh.
Archer's trying to enjoy his vacation while all this is going on, and becomes entangled in a tragic love story with all of the heart and drama of a man picking out the perfect celery soup at the market. Bakula is so disengaged in this episode that I would swear his performance was constructed from AI, and stupid. Archer is so stupid in this episode. So stupid that he doesn't even question how a strange dog magically transports to his balcony. Did he
I was
honestly
thinking the same
did
thing.
he honestly think that this little skinny dog climbed up 1 or 2 stories just to stare at Porthos? I mean, I would, but I have opposable thumbs. And I also have to say, Porthos being angry, the best part of the episode because he's so cute.
He
We
had
have
a
a
right
section
to
for that. We
be
can hold it
because
up.
did, but I
that
just love-
alien dog was
Mm.
ugly.
It's a Chinese crested. They're ugly dogs.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah, no.
I think that's one thing about the Star Trek universe that I find so wholesome is that dogs are universal. Every
Mhm.
species, everybody in the alpha,
Yeah,
beta, gamma, and
I was
delta
like-
quadrants have dogs. And
I
I'm
did
just like,
think it was like, she just straight up has an Earth dog. Like,
Yeah,
that
she
is a
just has an
dog
Earth
that
dog.
exists on Earth.
I like to think sometime in the early 21st century, aliens landed on Earth and was like, "What are those? Those are dogs. I must have one." And then they
They're
just
like,
went off into the universe and just started breeding
Spread them
dogs, and that's
around.
why everybody has dogs.
Mhm.
Okay, finally, Hoshi.
Hoshi,
No.
bring it.
Hoshi beds an alien. That's it. You could remove Hoshi's plot from this episode, and you would have changed nothing. You could have removed any plot from this episode, and it would have changed nothing. Okay, I'm almost done. I'm sorry. I got passionate when I wrote this.
Apparently.
Good.
Back in the 60s, the legendary Matt Jeffries adorned the corridors of the Enterprise with pipes that he labeled with the acronym GNDN. Goes nowhere, does nothing. 2 days and 2 nights is the the GNDN of Star Trek. It goes nowhere and does nothing. It fails at drama, it fails at comedy, it fails its characters, and it even fails at being bad. It exists, and if it were removed from the world and all memory of it erased entirely, it would change nothing because it is such a non-consequential ball of fluff. If Star Trek is a banquet, 2 days and 2 nights is a boiled, unsalted chicken breast.
All right.
And
so,
I have a question though.
No, I will not be taking
About-
questions from the press at this time.
About the nurse that, well, I'm gonna call her a nurse, but I thought she was. I didn't realize she was technically a nurse. I know she's a science officer.
She's an entomologist on the
Yeah.
Enterprise. She deals with bugs. It's no wonder
Yeah.
she couldn't treat
Why
Mayweather.
did
He had too
the
few limbs.
entomologist in charge of sickbay.
I like because I was sitting there. I was like, is there something I'm missing about Enterprise where it has like a Voyager type plot where they can only have like there's a reason they only have one medical person? It's like no, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
they
like
have
they
no
should have a
nurses.
medical team. Like
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me either. It was like
Yeah.
there's only Dr. Phlox and that's it.
And no nurse, no
No
nothing.
nurse, nobody,
You
no
see,
nothing.
even Voyager had Tom Paris, who, he was
Yeah.
not the best, but he at least knew what he was doing. Like
Yeah.
I said, Mayweather could have been cured with a 21st century EpiPen.
mhm.
Yeah.
And
And not only that, but like in the beginning of Voyager, there was a doctor and nurses. They just happened to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they set about replacing them as soon as possible because
Yeah.
that was like the
And
only
they
thing
like
Tess
they
was
gave
good
a
for.
plot reason for it. Like
Yes.
they gave a plot
Yes.
reason and then like continued that with like Cass and Tom Harris being like these are the people who have the most kind of medical knowledge of the group. Like it's not like we're doing the best we can. And this I was like they would have brought medical people with them.
You
Yeah,
would
that
think.
was just, especially if the first episode they're bringing this alien Klingon that's in a coma. You would think Phlox says, "I'm gonna need a nurse
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
me."
Well, you what?
Yeah, no, it just and it was funny because at first I completely misread what you were supposed to read with Mayweather at the beginning. When they do find him, I guess I don't know. I guess that's what happened. It's very unclear because you don't see any of the accident or any of him at the hospital.
Right.
That he was like, oh, I didn't want to be treated by some alien, and I was like, oh, are you supposed to be like kind of not on his side? That he's being a little like rude to these aliens? No, apparently he's entirely right. They gave him anaphylactic shock.
Yeah, he was.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so it's like, oh, if you had shown that like him at the hospital, them doing something that is like medically like not okay for humans.
Right.
Well, they brought him to the Enterprise and Phlox threw leeches at him.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
come
not like
on.
leeches is better than anything. All right.
But you
well,
would think that the hospital he was in would have been like, let's contact the Enterprise so that we can
no,
have
he
your
contacted the Enterprise.
Yeah. So, but they will send them their, biological profile
feel
so that they
like-
don't give them something bad.
Yeah, I feel like most like if you brought like a dog to a hospital, a doctor would be like, wait, I don't treat that. I need to talk to a vet. Like
Yeah.
you think
Yeah.
that, like a doctor would be like, huh, I don't know what this species is because apparently humans have never come to Risa.
Mm-hmm. I'm
Yeah.
with you. Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
just-
thinking. Why didn't they call the Enterprise and go, can you send us your schematics for your biology
Mhm.
because we have an injured person here?
I could just see like the doctor in the hospital being like Dr. Zoidberg Open up your mouth and let me look inside. No, not that mouth. Your second mouth. I only have the one. Really?
All right,
I want to pop in real quick since we're talking about medical stuff, because this is kind of a sad fact about this episode.
Uh-oh.
Kelly Waymeyer, who played Cutler, this was her last appearance because the actress actually passed away suddenly in November of 2003.
Oh,
And I think
Oh,
that it is.
wow.
I think that this is tragic. That this is her last appearance on Star Trek, because she was a very good character. I thought
She
I thought
was.
she had such potential.
that
She
was the nurse, right?
Yeah, she. It was Cutler, the nurse.
Crewman
Cutler,
Cutler.
yeah.
Crewman Cutler. Yes, she had been
I didn't know that.
in 2 or 3 episodes, and then just suddenly she just passed away, and she was very young, and it was unexpected, obviously.
Wow.
But I just think
That's
it
so
was a
sad.
waste. It was
That's
such a
super
waste
sad.
of her last appearance, which I know they didn't plan on this being her last
Yeah.
appearance.
Right.
Still, it's just such a waste that this is the last time we ever saw her.
Yeah. Well, let's go from something a little bit sad to the comments so we can liven up the room a bit. We've got Jason Hatwell, who is a camera. He says Phlox rocks.
Gumbag is skipping out on the Agony booth.
We'll be back next week. Damn, Jason Scorched Earth. And
Yes.
then Space Mom. They actually got paid to portray a coma-inducing Ennui.
Ennui,
Ennui.
you uncultured
Ennui.
swine.
Awards for Jason's rants. Yes.
Yes, it's award winning. His
Yes,
rant.
it is. Rachel is a great guest. So much better than that bearded Aussie loudmouth that's generally on there.
I agree
agree.
100%.
I agree.
Jason, Rachel rocks.
There we go. All right.
I mean, I don't want to say anything against me, but Jason also rocks.
That all right. His name is also Jason. All right, we're moving on. Ready?
There's nothing there.
He's so passionate, Mr. Lulu.
He had more passion in that one little clip than this entire episode had. Why would they do that? Why would you do that? So this episode is actually directed by Michael Dorn.
Yes.
Has some experience in Star Trek.
Oh no!
Behind the camera.
He directed In the Cards, which was a DS9 episode that was a comedy, and that episode was so good and so funny. And then this one just is never funny. It's just not.
What I would say in Michael Dorn's defense is, what could you possibly do with this script?
You can't, and I'm not blaming
Agreed.
Dorn
Like,
at all. I'm just
he
saying
didn't
it's
write
the
it.
quality of
He
the
didn't.
script.
I assume he didn't have anything to do with the script that apparently cut every interesting thing and told you about it later.
Yeah.
Like,
I've been trying to look to see if they had anything interesting in this episode, and the only thing I can find is that it was not set on Risa originally. It was going to be set on Wrigley's Pleasure Planet from the original series.
Oh,
And then they decided, I guess that's too interesting. Let's change it to Risa, because obviously Deep Space Nine's visit to Risa wasn't boring enough.
Or
Right.
Next Generation's visit.
No, the Next Generation visit to Risa was awesome. We will not speak badly of Vosh.
Mhm.
Well,
I
there's
will say,
more than
I
one
do-
episode with Risa on TNG.
Yeah, and
Was
one of
there?
them.
I thought that there was just
sucked.
one.
Yeah,
it
With
was
Rika, with the thing and the
Yeah,
eye.
that
Oh, that
That's
wasn't really a
also a
Risa
Risa.
episode.
Yeah.
That was
it's
just
not really a
like,
Risa episode. I will
Yeah.
say,
It's not a Risa episode.
the
Yeah,
Deep
you're right.
Space Nine Risa episode is my least favorite episode of Star Trek.
Yeah,
Like,
mine
I
too.
describe
the
as
domestic terrorist. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Yeah,
I just-
mine too.
I describe it as Worf has a backstory, so no one's allowed to have a vacation.
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, I'm gonna have to put that on the Wheel of Agony. Then.
Yes, it needs to go
I
on there.
think what it is
I don't
because
remember that one.
it does not. Worf's actions do not make sense for everything else Worf does. The entire like
Agreed.
multiple series he's on.
Agreed.
Yes, that's the episode that had Vanessa Williams in it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Vanessa Williams
right.
episode, so amazing. Let's put her in the worst episode of Deep Space Nine
Mhm.
ever.
Yes.
And then they
it-
never had a big name guest star ever again.
Yeah, Rachel's right though. The way he behaved in that episode was so out of character for Worf.
That I have to like.
I couldn't get my
I have
head
to. I have
wrapped
to
around
forget about that episode so I can still like Worf.
Wow. Not bad.
My
He
love will
becomes
always
a criminal.
be
He
for
becomes a
Worf.
terrorist for no reason other
He
than
becomes an
he-
eco-terrorist randomly.
no, not even an eco-terrorist. He just becomes like this Christian fascist,
Mhm.
This planet is immoral. There's too much
Yes.
sex going on here. I
Mm.
must stop everyone's fun.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
He becomes the Grinch. How the Wharf stole, how the Wharf stole
Fun.
Risa.
Yeah. So this episode, one thing that like troubled me, like, why would you do that? Why would they have them go into when I mean Trip and Malcolm, they come out in their skivvies, and it was like, really, they had to disrobe in order to get out? Like that didn't make any
No,
sense.
because the
They'd
guys
been
took their
robbed.
clothes
They'd
away.
been mugged. Yeah, so
Yeah,
they left
Yeah,
them
the
with
guys
nothing.
they took their clothes. When
Yeah,
they
but
mugged them.
they're
They
on
told
like
them take
a
the clothes
hotel.
off.
They couldn't get
Yeah.
a robe.
Well, because
Like,
they had to leave the basement to get out of the.
Mhm.
And they had to walk through the nightclub because that's where the garden was.
Yeah, who puts a garden in the basement of a nightclub?
Nobody. Which
Honestly-
is they should have thought of too.
yeah.
The
I'm with
whole-
Rachel. Like, we are taught as women, you don't go into a strange basement
Yeah.
with strange men. Why would men do
I would
that?
honestly
Because
like
men are stupid.
if even if it was
That's
a
it.
man I knew and they told me there was a
Men
garden
are
in this basement,
dumb
I would not
creatures.
know. Like I would not go.
Yeah,
You
like,
wouldn't go to a
Men are
I-
dumb creatures. When their hormones get going and certain areas
I
start
refuse
getting
to
blood
believe that
pumped
they're
to
that
them,
dumb.
the brain shuts off, and that's all they can think of is women pretty.
but Malcolm is a security officer who should know
Right.
better, who should have
He
thought
should have.
immediately
Mhm.
what are the dangers. Second of all,
Yeah.
I don't excuse Trip because he's an engineer.
Yeah, he's
Don't
dumb.
shouldn't he know what a basement could handle as far as the structural integrity of needing a garden in there? It
In
just
his
doesn't
defense,
seem
I don't
right.
think his brain was doing his thinking for him at the moment.
no, definitely.
No,
That-
then he was so thirsty.
It's like
Oh, go ahead, Rachel. Go ahead.
and it's also yeah, like I've mentioned this earlier, like so progressive, like so like objectifying to women, and I
Yes.
have with some of Enterprise in general is that I think it takes a step back in that form compared to other like Trek shows from the time. But also like the way they were talking about different genders, I was like, these are all aliens. Why do you assume they're all male or female? Like-
Mhm.
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
stupid. They're just
Yeah.
stupid in this episode.
Right.
I liken the Trip and Tucker side plot or D plot or F plot or whatever this was, because there were
D
so
plot.
many side plots in this episode. To me, it reminded me of Porky's. I don't know if you guys have ever
Yes,
seen Porky's
I
from the 80s,
have.
but that is what it is.
Rachel
It's-
has not.
I have not. I have no idea what
Okay.
this is.
basically, the entire plot of every Porky's movie is
That's right. There's a bunch of them.
some guy wants to have sex and they are punished for it.
Yes. And,
And
there's
that's it.
scheming
And they-
going on.
And they are punished by embarrassment at the end. And I can honestly picture the writing room of Enterprise saying, yes, Trip and Malcolm are going to act completely off character, like a couple of
Mhm.
horn dogs in this episode, but we're going to punish them at the end, so it's okay. But do they really learn something? No, they don't.
Right.
Because I think that if they had another day on Risa, they'd come back to the same bar and try again.
I also think where like Enterprise probably the Star Trek show I've seen like the least of, and I was like, I don't think this is on character for either of these people.
No.
Like,
Everybody was off character in this episode.
Yeah. And the other thing that why would they do that is the whole Scott Bakula plot for Captain Archer. All right, so I'm gonna go and get his DNA because suddenly he figures out, wait a minute, something's wrong. Like Yeah.
Suddenly,
he figured it out.
I-
And then
Yes.
it was a whole Sulu month. Go ahead, Rachel.
I also expected her to come out like, okay, I kept thinking about this and I don't know why. Where she like suggests dinner, she's clearly trying to get to go with him, and then
Right.
he like
Asked her.
asks her, and she goes basically says yes and goes, no, I can't, and then just like leaves. What was that?
I didn't understand that either.
that was a
You're
writer
pulling
not
for
knowing
an
how to end a
invitation.
scene.
Yeah.
I like was so confused because then I was like, okay, that's gonna come up and that's gonna be because okay, very obvious that woman was evil, right? Or
Yeah.
like something else was going on with her.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I at the end I still not sure we were supposed to think she was evil. I like
Because he seemed like he was like, yes, she was evil, but I'm gonna miss her and her little dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's dog.
God. Now you said little dog, and now I'm imagining her as like the Wicked Witch. Like, I'm gonna get you,
Yes,
your little
and
dog.
Yeah.
Usher
was
and your
thinking-
little
You
beagle
should be,
too.
yeah. That's fine. I got the Star Trek quarterback there, but I also collect Wizard of Oz stuff, just not in this room.
Oh wow.
But
Go for it.
like, I was so confused by like, I was like, okay, so that's gonna be part of the plan that like she had to go do something. No, it never comes up, and it's the most awkward line reading.
So
Yeah, a lot of this was phoned in. I felt it was
Yeah.
just
yes.
Nobody believed.
I
in
like,
the
I was like,
script.
was this?
No
my
one.
Enterprise.
I was like, did everyone get food poisoning or something? Is it
Yeah.
like? Oh, I was gonna reference something, but I have no. There's a day on set of Titanic where everyone got poisoned by PCP,
Yes,
which would be like
yes.
the opposite of this, I guess, because no one had high energy.
no.
They should have spiked something at the catering table. I don't know. Put an Adderall in their food or something. Especially Scott. Scott Bakula is usually so great and everything.
Yes.
This
know.
I
this
was
is the
disappointed
worst-
at his
like-
scene.
The worst Bakula performance of all time, and you
I
can
was
tell
like-
he was over it. He read the script. He's like, this is crap. This is absolute crap.
And the thing is, I kept like expecting him to be charming.
Yeah, because he usually is.
He's
Yeah.
usually very charismatic and charming, and I was like, "You're playing a romantic scene. Why aren't you bringing any of that charm in?"
Yeah.
Like I thought he was actually more charming in his scenes with
Porthos.
Well, yeah, I was.
Come on,
thinking
boy.
to
Come on,
Paul.
Porthos.
Oh, Porthos.
I was thinking like to Paul, where I was like,
Yes.
Terrible.
where there was a scene I was like, he's not supposed to be flirting with her, right? Like,
Yeah, it was very.
And you know what I thought was very weird? Was how aggressive this woman suddenly got. Like
mhm.
she's tell me what you know.
Yeah.
Dude,
Of
you're
course.
not military. You're just this person, and you want me to give you my military secrets on this species? Like, that was just strange that she went from telling him a sad story about losing her family to the, to tell me what you know.
And of course,
It was-
Archer is just sitting there like, this is strange.
Yeah.
I wonder if she'll have.
She's not a
dinner
very
with
good
you.
spy. If she was sent there by her people to spy on him, which is another thing they never really addressed in the episode, which I would have, if you're going to bring this in, address it. Where is she coming from? You know, she just knocks him out and disappears.
And they
he
never
wakes
referenced
up.
her alien species again in this show.
Yeah, so
Right?
many
And it's
men-
a big issue. Yeah, I think
All
they
the-
should have brought them back in.
Have you noticed that all the men get knocked out in this episode?
Yeah.
All
Yes.
of them.
Yeah.
Oh my god, they do.
Yeah,
every
yeah.
single one.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
Fox
only one
chose
with a
like Phlox wanted to be.
Right. Phlox wanted to be, but everybody else, even
That's-
Mayweather.
Well,
he
so
was
did
knocked
everyone
out.
else watching this
I also,
episode. though.
genuine question, like I said, Enterprise the show. Does Phlox, the fact that Phlox apparently hibernates ever comes up again?
They
No.
mentioned it once before this.
Okay.
It
once
was
before
whenever he
in
said,
the
yeah.
beginning.
It seems
Yeah.
important to know.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're
Yeah.
going to have a word from our sponsor now.
Suit, reverse thrusters.
Hailing frequencies open.
Scotty, we need more power. I can't hold it much longer, Captain.
We're losing the Colonel's signal, sir.
Well, what was Spock's order? His usual, Captain. The two-piece combo. Okay, give me a two-piece combo.
Aye, sir.
No, wait. Make it 3 pieces. Leave them up, Scotty. Status report. Close call, Captain. Almost lost the coleslaw on that one.
Captain's log, stardate 2453.87. The crisis was averted, our cravings satisfied. The chicken was excellent.
Take us out of here, Mr. Sulu. Warp factor 2. Hey, who took my fries?
And that was actually more exciting than this episode of Enterprise.
Can we talk about how
Yeah, we got
awesome
Wish.
the casting in that commercial
Those
was?
guys, even though it
Excellent.
was Wish Star
Yeah.
Trek, but
I mean, honestly, for a second there, I was like, "Is that really James doing?"
yeah.
yeah. I was like,
And I'm still not sure.
I was like, did they put their like? I was like, did they like do something to map their faces on them?
No, they couldn't back then.
Yeah,
Yeah, then I was like, wait, I was like, wait, yeah, that's where I was like, no, this commercial is way too old for that.
Yeah, it was way too old for that.
And for a
And it was
minute, I
a-
thought it was really Uhura until they showed her up close.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I was like, is that really Sulu?
Yeah.
The set
They did a
was
great
amazing.
job.
Honestly,
Also,
that had better
that William
production
Shat-
values than
all
this
the im-
episode.
I don't. Were they also doing the impressions? Because like
Yes. The
That
William
was-
Shatner was on point.
that
Yeah.
was like
but Scotty was on point. Everything
it-
was on point.
I like how we like this
this
commercial more
commercial
than
better than
this.
that. I want to talk about this now.
That's
This
so
commercial
bad.
did not
I-
bore me into a
I-
coma, though.
You know what I'm saying? Is the William Shatner impression actually sounded like William Shatner as opposed to a William Shatner impression?
Yeah.
That's because I can picture William Shatner ordering 2 buckets of chicken by himself.
Yeah.
Captain
Absolutely.
Dog, I
Hey, for that
ordered
KFC.
chicken and no one likes me, so I will eat it all myself.
All right, let us move on to redeeming features.
It looks like gold. Tastes like gold.
It is gold.
Are there any redeeming features? I mean, that green screen looked pretty decent.
I'm sorry, but the Hoshi
I
getting a little
I
something,
like-
something.
honestly I could have used more of the Hoshi like plotline
Right?
because I didn't like any of the others.
Yeah.
I really like the Hoshi scene. And
'Cause
I thought it was great.
I thought Hoshi was the only one somewhat acting like Hoshi would. Like someone acting in character.
Yes.
And I thought that like they had decent chemistry, that I was like, can we just stick to them?
Yeah,
Like-
quite honestly, it makes me wonder if Hoshi's getting some at every planet.
Woo!
And we just
Yeah,
never see it.
girl. Good.
Yeah.
Which, in which
job.
case, go Hosh. You go. You go.
Oh,
girl.
Hoshi.
I mean, he was good looking. Come on.
Hey, you
now.
know what?
Hey,
If
Trip
that
and
is
Malcom
who
way.
she is, if that's what she likes, more power to her.
That's right. That's right. So would this be intergalactic? Hoshi got her groove back? Is that what that means?
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah.
All 7
Yeah.
minutes that they devote to Hoshi in this episode.
All 7
sure.
minutes of it. Yeah, I did like that she picked up the Risian language very quickly, and she spoke.
Yeah,
with
that
old-
was like
cool.
cool. I like a good character building moment. The only one in the episode.
Yeah,
But again,
Um,
just like you said, Rachel, is part of her character as Hoshi to
Yeah.
do that. And they kept that true to Hoshi's character, which was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I like that she left the universal translator behind, and you actually hear these alien languages, because to me it sells the idea that Risa is an alien planet with all these
Yeah.
different aliens visiting. And
I-
I do believe this is the first time we've ever met Risians in the wild that weren't trying to jump in your bed or anything. It's just this married couple just chilling out at a restaurant. They're just like, "Oh, aren't you nice? That's just so great."
I really liked their thing about like, oh, we're surprised you like took the time to learn the language.
Yeah,
right.
Because
Yes.
like that
Yes.
is like a real aspect of tourism. Like
Right.
Yes, it is.
like
Yes.
and
I-
I get it. Often you're not there long enough, and no one here is Hoshi. So
Yeah. And people do react that way when someone from another country comes in and says,
Yeah.
"Oh, wow, you speak," even if it's, not so great, you think in
Mhm.
your
So-
mind, but you're trying in their country, they really appreciate that.
yeah.
I tried
When I went
speaking French in France one time, and I butchered it. And the taxi driver was like, "No, that was good. I'm so grateful that you tried." And I'm sure after I left, he was
Aw.
like, "Jesus."
Yeah.
America.
No, definitely. I'm a military brat. I grew up overseas, and there's definitely a like thing. And unfortunately, I moved around a lot, so I don't have like a firm grasp on any of the languages because I lived in several different countries. But there's definitely like they were very appreciative of when you would like try at least to say something
So
in the language.
I work for a company that sent me to China. And when I went to China, I picked up key phrases to, how to go to the bathroom, things like that,
Yeah.
the important ones. And I remember we were waiting for our taxi. Like we had a special car service to take us to one of the factories. And the guy said something, and I said it right back to him. And then like almost verbatim. And then my team, once the guy closed, he said, "Oh, okay." And then he got in the car and we were driving. And all my friends from work looked at me and went, "Did you really learn Chinese that fast?" And I was like, "Absolutely not. I just repeated what he said." And lucky enough, he said, "You going to the such and such factory?" And I was like, "Yeah, such and such factory." And he's like, "Okay." And that's how we got there. So, I appreciated that scene just because of my own personal experiences overseas.
Yeah.
Enterprise needed more Hoshi.
Yeah, I agree.
But it seems like every time they tried to give her an episode just to herself, we got things like, vanishing whatever that was, where it was another boring episode.
I would say Hoshi's the. I would say Hoshi's like the character of the show, seemed to appreciate the least, but Mayweather exists.
Mayweather.
So.
Yeah, Mayweather. Definitely underappreciated.
Whenever Phlox wakes up and they say, Mayweather needs your help, and Phlox goes, "Who?"
That was so funny.
Oh my god! Actually, that is.
I couldn't remember what Mayweather's
cackled.
name was either at one point.
Yeah, what would you say, Rachel?
No, that part I genuinely cackled.
Yeah, me too. I thought that was
cracked up.
Whenever they wake him up and he says, "I don't care what it tastes like," I'm like, "Phlox, what are you dreaming about?"
Yeah.
Yep. I love the Phlox moments in Enterprise.
John Billingsley was too good for this show. I'll just say it. He was too good for this show.
He is amazing.
Yeah, Rachel?
Oh no, I think you said this earlier. He seemed to be the only one remembering that he had you were supposed to make it interesting to watch.
Right.
And I will say I cannot remember the actor who plays Mayweather's name right now.
Anthony Montgomery.
Thank you. I actually think he was selling the 3 scenes they gave him.
Yeah, he tried.
He's very good.
Anything.
They just never gave him anything to do.
Right.
It makes it upsets me because I think that if you had put Anthony Montgomery in Scott Bakula's place, switch the roles, Anthony Montgomery would have acted his heart out in this episode.
Oh,
He would have brought everything he had to it because it would have been an episode about Mayweather. And then, I'm not down in Scott Bakula because I know people get frustrated and people get burned out. But he didn't. It seemed like the people who were given all the lead roles didn't care.
It also
and everybody
felt
who had the tiny roles did.
If you were doing an episode like this and you're doing a bunch of different subplots anyways, maybe give the lead an episode off, have him do the T'Pol stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Because Scott Bakula seems exhausted in this episode.
He does.
And he very well could have been. I'm sure being the lead of a TV show is very tiring work. It was so weird to me, and as we said, usually very charismatic and charming. It just didn't seem to care at all.
Mayweather is truly was underappreciated. If you see the episode where he goes back to the ship he grew up in, it's all about him. He did a fantastic job, I think.
Yeah.
And it really explored who he was and why he ended up on the Enterprise doing what he did instead of following his parents' footsteps, and it really talked about the family and what was going on and this different kind of life that you don't really hear about too much in Star Trek. And I thought he did a fantastic job. I think that the interaction with him and Phlox, beautiful.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since I've seen that episode, but I remember really relating to parts of it because of being a military brat and being somewhere specifically because of your parents' job and but yeah, I remember just watching it and be like, why do they not give this actor way more to do?
Yeah.
It's funny. We complain endlessly about the side characters on Discovery not being given enough of the spotlight. Detmer and Shockface and Reaction Shot. I can't even remember their names. The only one I remember is Detmer, and of course, Dead Robot Lady. All those people.
Right.
But to me, it almost seems like without any episodes ever being devoted to them, without any backstory to them, it seems like those side characters on Discovery are treated better than the side characters on Enterprise.
So maybe it's the Mayweather effect. Maybe because of what they did to Mayweather, they were like, you know what?
I also want to say, as far as Anthony Montgomery is supposed to be like in the main cast of Enterprise,
Yeah,
right?
he's in all the photos.
Whereas
Yeah.
those characters are all like they're not in the opening credits, like,
No.
and they do give them, but they give them things to do.
It just seems like they're respected, and it seems like Anthony
Yeah.
Montgomery was not respected on Enterprise. And I don't know. I don't know the behind the scenes stuff. The guy might have been a nightmare to work with. I don't know, but it just seems to me like it was just not fair.
You didn't give me Earl Grey. I wanted English breakfast.
I can't. Mayweather
I'll be
just
honest,
seemed like such a nice, and I'm sorry, Anthony Montgomery just seemed like such a nice guy in every interview I've seen. You know,
I've
seen
never
him
heard
at
anyone say
cons.
anything.
Never heard a bad word about him.
Yeah.
Like
He just to me, he was just not respected, and I think that is such a shame.
And I've often wondered, I was like, is this something to do with his race? Like, it's very weird how little that man has to do on this show.
I don't know.
And I don't
like
know that it is, but it's glaring enough that it makes me question it.
It's made me question too, but honestly, I think that they just made him such a bland character to begin with.
The writing.
The writing failed Enterprise in the character department so much. I mean, T'Pol was a great character. Archer, depending on whatever episode he was in, was a great character. Phlox was a great character. Trip was a great character. Everybody else was just kind of there.
Yeah. Waving along.
Yeah.
And it was not the fault of the actors at all. I think the actors were actually really great. It was the writing.
Yeah.
It was
and this is also the I'm checked out Rick Berman era.
Yes. Rick Berman was pretty much done. Brandon Braga was just about done.
Right.
And I'll say again, once they pretty much backed off of Enterprise got really good. And whenever they decided that they were going to stick their thumb back into the pie, we got These Are the Voyages.
Yeah.
They were spent.
All right, so we've got some comments. We're going to go spin them around a little bit. We've got John Daranowski. Any relation? Hello, sorry for the late arrival.
You are forgiven, but don't let it happen again.
Welcome, John. And then John says, Mayweather really had an interesting backstory as well as growing up a boomer.
Oh, that's another term that has not aged very well.
No. Welcome, John. And then I wonder if he's related to Darren. John, are you related to Darren?
I'm now thinking about the fact that was definitely a term then, like it's like as like the generation of the baby boom. Why did they use that?
I know they kept calling him a space boomer. I'm like, wait, what? That's so weird.
Call him a spacer, call him something. I don't know.
You know what? To be fair, military Brad has always been a weird title too.
Yeah, that seems more insulting than kind.
Yeah, it says.
But I don't know.
I can with some certainty say that there was not one POC or woman in the writers' room of Enterprise. I agree.
I can definitely agree.
Yeah.
You know, I also don't think there were any women in the costuming department.
There never any women in the costuming department. All right. Well, it's time, folks.
Bring it. Now this is the season finale, though, so we're not going to see this episode until Picard's final season is over with. So this is the Mr. Worf fire of Captain's Quadrant.
That's right, Mr. Worf fire. All right, so here we go. We have added a show to replace this one, obviously, because we don't want to rewatch that again.
What did we add? Is it No, it's the Storyteller.
Very good.
Oh.
Very good. Wow.
Very good.
Boring episode. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
That was. What'd you say?
I said boring. Boring and stupid.
So boring and dumb. All right, here we go. We're gonna spin it to win it.
Spin it. All right.
Here we go. Spinning. You spin me right round,
baby, right round, like a record player,
right
round. Let's
and boom!
Oh, it's
TAS, Infinite Vulcan.
What is it?
The animated series, Infinite Vulcan. So we should ask your friend that had some involvement on.
We need to, yes.
So
I've made friends with a gentleman who wrote the guide to the animated Star Trek. So we need to see if he wants to be on board.
We have the
that
same friend.
Awesome.
Oh, do we?
You know that guy?
Yeah.
I feel like I've been cheated on now.
Well, how do you think I felt when what is it? the Captain's Funniest Frontier. And I was like, oh, that's my friend. Rather than you and Jason and somebody else, like, yeah, that's my friend too. And I was like,
gosh. See, we're the Hoshi of Captain's Quadrant.
Yes, we are.
Oh, yeah. Totally. All right, here we go.
Now, why don't you go back to your quarters? I'll be along shortly to say hello.
I was going to say, Linda Park, we love you, by the way, because we know you're watching.
Sure she is.
Of course she is.
Of course she is.
Anthony
Why wouldn't
Montgomery
she?
sitting at home going, you should hear, they're saying the nicest things about me. What are they saying about me?
So, has anyone
Nothing.
seen The Infinite Vulcan? Rachel?
I haven't. It will be my first time watching.
I don't think so. I've seen like episodes here and there of the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
Despite
You have
being
Paramount
friends-
Plus, right?
Yeah, I do. So I can,
Look.
yeah.
Look how
Oh,
excited I am.
Yeah, I see. So
This episode is
I mean,
insane.
it has to be more
I love
fun
it.
than I honestly I am a fan of like very silly Star Trek, so I probably will like enjoy it.
This is okay. This one of my favorite in jokes on Lower Decks involved this episode, and it was the giant Spock skeleton.
Oh, that's what that comes
I
from. I like knew of Giant
Love
Spock.
this. I love
Yeah.
that joke. I love this episode. It's stupid and it's corny and it's dumb, and I just love it.
See, that's fun though. It's more interesting to
Yes.
watch than what we just watched.
Yes, I
Yeah.
would rather an episode be stupid and bad than just boring and dumb.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we almost got stuck with either Such Sweet Sorrow from Discovery or Voyager Coda. And I don't remember Voyager Coda, but I remember
That's the
Such
one
Sweet-
where Janeway dies and comes back as a spirit, and her dad is there.
Yeah.
Oh
And-
yeah.
Yeah, she keeps dying, repeating the day with Cote.
It's Groundhog Day, basically. They stole
It's space
Groundhog
Groundhog
No,
Day.
it's Ghost.
All I can
It's
remember
Ghost.
is
It's
like
Star Trek with Ghost.
yeah. All I can remember is like Chakotay like yelling Catherine and like there being a moment between them is the only interesting thing in that episode.
Wow, that it?
I
That's it. It's
feel like
really bad.
Ooh.
it's like also really confusing how like she's like willing to accept the dad ghost. Like
It's like, you're a scientist.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're a scientist, dude.
You're a scientist who lives in the Star Trek universe and know about like Q and stuff. You should be questioning this like for a
Hoax.
while.
Totally.
I would have been like, "Are you Q? Are you just
Exactly.
dressed up to look like
To be
my
fair,
dad?"
there are a lot of times where people they can't do it every time for the plot. There's almost in every episode of Star Trek, someone should be like, "Is Q happening?" Like,
Yeah.
That I would have loved to have seen any episode like 15 minutes in, something weird happens and like an alien shows up, and I just want to see one crew member goes, "You're Q, aren't you?" And the alien goes,
Yeah.
"Damn!" Flash, everybody
It doesn't
disappears,
turn
and then
out-
the episode goes on like nothing
I
happens.
cannot remember what episode of TNG is, but there's a TNG episode where it doesn't turn out to be Q, but they're theorizing what something should be, and they say, "Could it be a Q?"
I remember that. Yeah.
Yes.
And I was just like, "You should ask that every time."
That should be
Is
a
it
standard question.
Q? Are we
of
stuck on the holodeck?
investigation.
Is this
Yeah.
happening in our heads? And
Is it Moriarty? Yeah.
yeah, is Data crazy again?
Yeah.
That should be the top 4 questions.
John Darrenowski says something that makes plain sense. Star Trek loves the time loop.
Hey, Cause and
Yes.
Effect was a great episode.
Yeah, I was like, most times it's they're good though. So like,
Yeah. Well, friends, it has been a sufferable enjoyment to be with you all in the Agony booth. That is going to wrap it up for the second season of the Agony booth. Thank you all for joining us. We are going to be diving into Picard, the
Yes.
final
I'm
season.
so excited.
We are going to make it so, and we're going to be live every Thursday. So make sure you join us and, say goodbye to our favorite space family. It's going to be heartwarming. I'm going to start doing TikToks on who's going to make it and who's not for this season. You guys can join me in those.
oh my god, I've been so. I was like, I'm gonna cry.
I don't think Data's going to survive this season.
He's already gone.
I know.
All right. So for Jason, our VHS Jace, I am Captain Joe Dove. He's the
Crikey,
alien-
boomerang kangaroo Bobby.
Hairless Alien, Space Dog, Klingon Queen, and for the first time, and hopefully not the last time, thank you so much for joining us. Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
Of course.
Thank you. We really
come
enjoyed
back.
you suffering with us through this. Episode.
Sometimes it's more interesting to talk about bad episodes.
It is. If you are watching us for the first time, or you have entered into the space of Captain's Quadrant, please be sure to subscribe. And while you're subscribing, please give us a like. It helps us, and it's free. This is some of the best things that you get in the world, helping someone, and it costing you nothing. So let's put both in together. Be sure to join us next week for Picard, as I said. And when you subscribe, I've got some news for you. We've got a whole slew of other shows that are coming out on the channel. We've got, as you know, Captain's Quadrant, that's us, The Power of J-Skull, where they have a fond look back of all things Master of the Universe. Looking Forward, where we look forward into the streaming and films that are coming out in the months ahead. 1 week later, where we look back after the chaos and agony is finished of certain popular movie releases, and we talk about it a week later. Behind the Curtain is where we interview people and cinematic and streaming universes. Backtrack Saturday Morning is an up-and-coming show where we look back at our cartoon favorites that we woke up on Saturday morning to watch. Off the Shelf, where Rick and I talk about some fun memories and our great collectibles, the stuff that you see behind me in the background. We pull it off and show you what it's all about. And VHS Vault, where Jason and Jason go into those wondrous movies that you remember as a kid going into Blockbuster to try to check out. Your mom going, no, you're not old enough. Until next time, be well and live long and prosper.